Let's speak live now to Fabio Massimo Castaldo, MEP for the Five Star Movement, who we just talked about a few moments ago.
Good evening.
Fabio, welcome. Your movement has called for early elections. We've just heard, though, the President saying he doesn't want Matteo Renzi to go. What's your reaction to that?
But in a certain way we were expecting, because we are accustomed to Matteo Renzi promises. As always, one day we'll say something and the day after we'll do exactly the contrary. In this case, the excuse was the budget that is going to be voted in the Senate very soon. In any case, we will put all our pressure, political pressure, because he should keep these promises he did before the referendum, and the promises that was already trying to deny some weeks ago. We think that the vote and the result and the outcome of this referendum was completely clear. The Italian people, the Italian citizens said very clearly that they were against these reforms, and they said as well that this government is no longer representing the majority of the population, because it was an idea and the goal of the Prime Minister Renzi to link the life of his government also to this referendum, and so they are asking for a new changement, a clear changement, and this changement we think could be represented for the Five Stars movement, by the Five Stars movement that showed very clearly in those years the coherence of our approach and the will to completely change the clientelar and the completely corrupted system of the Italian partitocracy.
Now, I just want to ask something about how the parties differ, because Five Star is critical of the EU and its policies, as indeed was Matteo Renzi. He didn't like the way the EU handled the issues of immigration and also austerity policies. So what makes you different from what has been, let's be honest, a failed government under Matteo Renzi?
The difference is the coherence of the approach, because Matteo Renzi was very critical using his words and declaration, but then his party was always voting in favor of austerity reports and austerity resolutions. He was also in favor, for example, of a new policy towards Russia, but finally the group and the family of which the Democratic Party is part of was always in favor of that kind of attitude, with just a few exceptions. So we think that from one side there was the strong criticism, but it was more or less just theater, just like a role-play game between him, Juncker, and the Commission. That's why at the end they were trying to show some additional support from Renzi, because it was just the same dirty game we are seeing since a long time, to try to keep the votes, to steal the vote from the electors. This time the Italian people didn't fall into the trap. Then the Italian people sent a clear message to this kind of approach. We want a new policy for the Mediterranean inside Europe. We want to completely finish and abolish this policy of austerity that is just profiting to Germany, and that is growing up more and more its surplus, and we want a different approach. As movement, we are not against the idea of an European integration, but we think that in this moment this is not the right path to do that, and so we will continue fight to completely change this approach and this attitude with more coherence, because on the contrary of Matteo Renzi, that was elected and was not elected, sorry, but it was endorsed and gets the full support of international Italian lobbies. We will be elected, we hope very soon, with new elections, without this kind of support, without the public financement, just with the help and the support of the Italian people. And this is a characteristic of the Five Stars, and it will really give us the possibility to do and to be free in our political positions.
Fabio, thanks for speaking to us. Our guest, Fabio Massimo Castaldo, MEP for the Five Star Movement in Italy.